next person is a lovely lady by the name of Heather Comstock. A lot of you know Heather. I'm going to do a very quick little reading here. Heather earned her BA in Social Sciences from the University of Wyoming in 2001. In 2015, Heather became the part-time Family Caregiver Services Coordinator at the Sheridan Senior Center and worked with a team to submit a grant proposal for the Administration for Community Living Alzheimer's Initiative. When the Sheridan Senior Center received notice in the fall of 2016 that the city was one of the grant recipients, the Dementia Friendly Wyoming Initiative officially began. Heather has attended Teepa Snow's Positive Approach to Care. She's a trainer, coach, and consultant and has certifications in these 3 areas. With these certifications, she's excited to be able to offer dementia-specific care partner skill preparations to the community through workshops and one-on-one coaching and consulting sessions. It says that in her free time, but Heather doesn't have free time, so I won't read that. Heather is always busy. So I'd like to welcome Heather Comstock.
Okay, I want to make sure everybody can hear me. I'm not sure, I got a couple mics going on here. So, thank you for coming. And I just want to say, if you need to go to the bathroom or you need to stand up and stretch, I'm okay with that because you guys have been sitting a little while, and I will not take offense if you need to do whatever you need to do. So, we're all okay with that? All right. I'm going to get started then, if I may. No, I'm not going to get started. We got some technical assistance back here. Well, maybe this is a good time to go to the bathroom real quick. If you think okay, we're gonna go. All right. Dementia Friendly Wyoming. How did this get started? How many of you are pretty familiar with Dementia Friendly Wyoming work? Raise your hand. Okay, all right. So how many of you have been strung in somehow, brought in as a volunteer or voluntold into our work? Okay, good. So this is kind of a new audience, great. Well, basically, we need to go a little bit backwards in time. In 2006, the greenhouse movement started up. It was a grassroots movement, and some of you may be really aware of this. In fact, we've got Bessie out in the vendor area with a table. The greenhouse was an idea that happened, and it took a couple years to raise money and find the ground and do all that development. And in 2012, the greenhouse living opened in Sheridan. Now, this is a type of place where you can go, and people that live there get to make choices. They get to choose when to get up. They get to choose what to eat. They get a little more choice in their living. So this is really exciting because this is a specific kind of situation where it's not backed by a university or a hospital. This is an organic movement that happened because this community wanted it to happen. And I'm looking specifically at Carmen back in that area, and also Kay and anybody else who was really active in this movement. So it's because of movements like this that the next segment happened. Now this right here is 2 of our community members, and I included this slide because I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, that once you've done something really great, you have a hard time going back to normal. So their question was, now what? What do you do after you've done something as wonderful as open up the greenhouse living? Well, the next conversation that started to happen in the community was about dementia. How many of you are familiar with the CVC, the Center for Vital Community in our community? Okay. So the whole idea, if this is a brand new word for you, is if you have an exciting thought, you want to make something happen in our community, but you don't know quite how to go about it, you contact the Center for Vital Community. And that's what happened in this situation. This is actually a picture, and I was going to start my timer. I'm going to start my timer right now. This is actually a picture of one of our sheets that we started, and we asked everybody in the community to come together and have these conversations about if we were going to really construct a dementia-capable community, what would that look like? So in 2015, we had a lot of conversations, and we started to get some really good ideas from the community about what we should do next. So how many of us are familiar with grants? We know that grants happen. How many of us have heard of federal grants? All right. What happened next is we got wind of a great opportunity. Not a small opportunity, a great big opportunity. And we had 45 days to write a large grant, and we submitted it to the Administration for Community Living. We also had a little bit of a help from our friends with Dementia Friendly America. So all those people in the little circle, that's a bunch of us ladies that worked for 45 days and did our best. And this is kind of exciting, guys. This is where it gets exciting, just so you know. We got it. We got the grant. Oh my gosh, what do you do now, right? This means rubber to the road. And this is where we really get to implement our programs. What I'd like to show you now is a video that is going to talk to you a little bit about what our vision was moving forward in a little bit of an abstract, cartoony way. But I want to just get you primed for the next half of this conversation. Is that okay? All right.
How can we include people with dementia in our community? We've all whispered the words, "Haven't you heard? They've got dementia." News travels fast. What doesn't seem to spread, however, is how to act towards someone with dementia. Maybe you've experienced this before. You're at your favourite restaurant when an older man leans in for a chat. He's friendly enough, but you have no idea what he's going on about, and you're secretly relieved when he gets up to go. But after he walks out, there's a commotion. The waitress drags the man back to the restaurant, marching him to the manager. He hasn't paid his bill, and the restaurant staff are too annoyed to notice that he's embarrassed and very disoriented. Would it change things if they knew that the man had forgotten to pay his bill due to his dementia? Of course it would. The fact is, around 5% of people over the age of 65 will get dementia in their lifetime, which means that man in the restaurant could be one of your family members, one of your friends, or even you. Just imagine that for a minute. You're talking to a friend, telling a story you know they love, but at the punchline, you struggle for words. In fact, you can't remember names for things at all. This happens a few times, and suddenly you're second-guessing whether to tell your stories or say anything at all. A situation that is very isolating. But it gets worse, because for some people, dementia makes them feel uncomfortable. Some friends might snub you, pretend they don't see you on the street, which is exactly what you don't need. What you do need are friends that treat you like they always did, going with you to the cinema, shopping, or out to your favourite restaurant where the staff are understanding and friendly. Which all means it's probably time to stop the whispering and time to start talking about how you and your community include people with dementia. Not only because your future may depend on it, but because no one should be cut off from telling a good story.
So what we really realized in doing this program is that we needed to stay really close to the source. We needed to remember about the people that we are serving, people living with dementia and their care partners. And we needed to understand what they needed. So our motto inside our office is, "Don't help us without us." We looked carefully at some data, and these are in order of statistical reference. So they're telling us that as a community, we speak too quickly, we are too loud, we talk so much that we confuse them, we sometimes won't even look them in the eyes, we rush them so that they can't think, and we treat them sometimes like we don't care. Wow. So, with all this in mind, this is, of course, what we think success looks like. But so far, we've realized, even in our grant journey, that really, this is what success looks like. And we know to keep going back to the source, who are, again, who? People living with dementia and their care partners. So where we're about to go now, I want you to know, is very much informed by life experience. And so we're trying to incorporate that, obviously, into our work. So the first thing we had to do was come up with a community assessment, because we really needed to hear from our community as to what their experiences were. So you may or may not know, but we have gone to a lot of sectors in the community, and we've asked them specifically if they've had any experiences with people living with dementia or their care partners, and if so, what was that like? We are aware that inside doing that, we're looking carefully at what is our goal in becoming a dementia-friendly community. That's why we did that assessment. So to make a long story short, we did the talking circles, and then after we got the grant, we actually went back and we had a bigger conversation, a much larger survey, so we could really make sure we understood how each component of our community might want to get involved with us, right? Because what good is community work if the community isn't involved? So we talked to everybody. We talked to the Mint Bar, we talked to the churches, we talked to, all the professionals, you name it, especially up and down Main Street, because we really wanted to understand their experiences. So we started with that knowledge after that assessment. We really looked at community education. And that community education piece is recognizing dementia and creating supportive environments. And in doing that, we've been able to do something that's pretty cool. We have been able to provide many businesses with education that's about an hour. And when you see this in community now, how many of you have seen this so far? That little emblem. Have you noticed it up and down the street yet? Okay, this is great. So next time you walk up and down the street, this is the YO Theater. I think Crazy Woman Traders has it now. When you see this emblem, as a care partner, you know they've had some dementia training. So if you're with your person that has dementia, you can go in there and you can know that they're going to be pretty much a little more familiar, and they're definitely going to work hard to support you. Is that cool or what? I think that's kind of nice. All right. So the next, we realize that when we find out that our loved ones are living with dementia, something that we really need to look at is a support center. We now have a place in our city when you know of someone that you love that has dementia, or you know of a neighbor that's having some issues like that, you can have them come to our business, the DFW, the Dementia Friendly Wyoming office, which, as I said earlier, is also connected to the TSP building. I know I have to say that, but I'm trying to anchor you to where we are in the city so you can come on by. So right now, you actually have a place where you can come to receive some resources and support and be given help to make the next step, whatever that looks like. The idea here is specifically that we will do some care planning with persons in earlier phases of dementia, and we will do some care consulting and coaching, and we'll work to help connect you to resources. We have some really nice evidence-based tools. I know we say evidence-based, and what does that mean to you? That means they've been tested and they work pretty well. So they're showing up to us, and all we have to do is just implement them. So we have a wonderful piece of work that has got a good track record. So we're asking people to help us facilitate it inside the community by participating in receiving support. The next is care partner skill sets. How many of you are caring for someone right now that has some kind of dementia? Okay. Now it's kind of, you're learning something new every day, I bet. Is that true? And sometimes there's like, where's the manual for this? You've got a nice book in your hands right now, but where's a manual for this? Oh my gosh, every day is new. So One of the nice things that we've been able to do with this grant is we've been able to acquire some state-of-the-art information. One of them is improving empathetic communications. Has anybody had access to the validation, the empathetic tools? Has anybody? Okay. All right. Can I ask a quick question? Is that okay? How was that for you? Is it helping you in your conversations, do you feel, with your loved one, the empathetic communication skill sets?
I've had some really good results with it, but it is very difficult for me to learn.
Okay.
And it's so different, but I've had some real positive from it too.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you correctly, yes, you've had some successes, but it's difficult. It's work.
Yes.
It's work.
I need to spend more time with you.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's the truth of it, right, guys? These tools are wonderful and they are accessible, but they take work. But even if you have a measure of success, however small, does it feel like it's worth it?
Oh yes, most definitely.
Okay, see, that makes me so happy because that's really what we want. And that's what we're trying to talk about today is, this is going to be hard work. There's nothing easy about this. But the tools are there. And we will learn from you as care partners what we need to do to make this more workable for you. And Dave's a good example. My experience with you, Dave, taught me so much about how I can do a better job in implementing this program with persons like you. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, Dave. Is that okay? Okay. All right. So those are the empathetic communication skill sets that I mentioned. And then we have some positive skill sets. How many of you have heard about Teepa Snow? Okay. Some of us really have heard about Teepa Snow, and some of us haven't heard of her yet. So what she has to bring to the table is she spent over 39 years working with persons living with dementia in a very tight quarters situation. So she really understands different ways for a care partner to have an easier time. This is what she does. So if you come to our center and we're able to work with you, or you have a chance to come to one of our workshops, or have a coaching session, or a consultant session, or an engagement session, the only things that's really going to change in this session will be this: your perspective of the person that you love and their experience. I'm not going to be able to change your reality in any other way. What I will be able to do, hopefully, is give you some ahas, and you will come up with ahas, and we'll together learn about, oh, that's why that's happening. Oh, that's why he does that. That's why this work is so good. We don't so much give you fish, to use a parable, if I may, if you'll forgive me. Teepa's work is not about giving you fish. Teepa's work is about teaching you how to fish. So hopefully, out of these experiences, whether it's a workshop or a skill session, or a challenging situation consulting would be like if suddenly showering is becoming too difficult. That's something we would look at, and we try to decide what might not be working there. Now, the creating meaningful engagement. How many of you are experiencing, as care partners, boredom? How many of your people do you think that you love and are living with dementia are experiencing boredom? Aha, this is tough stuff. This is really tough, because guess what? They're giving us constant feedback, and sometimes it's in really challenging ways, right? So that's why this is exciting. Teepa's come up with ways for us to understand and maybe become a little bit investigative. Oh, if they're doing that, I wonder what their unmet need might be. So this is what I'm talking about in terms of tools, and this is what we're able to offer our community, is a whole new way for us as care partners to look at the experience of our persons living with dementia. And by doing that, we change everything. I gotta tell you, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid on this. I'm very excited, and I hope that you will come to us and access this resource, because I guarantee you, if you give me one chance, you'll feel better for it. You might be annoyed at my enthusiasm, as you are in this moment, perhaps, but I think you'll feel like it was a valuable use of your time. So moving forward, healthcare. Now I've got a piece of paper in my pocket I really want to pull out because I said I wanted to say this absolutely correct. So how many of you have gone to the doctor with your person that's living with dementia? Okay, so we've all had some experiences there. And what we did as part of our grant is we had an opportunity to fly in 2 really great professionals. These are the Barclays. And what they're doing is they're helping us open up a dialogue with our health professionals in our city. And I wanted to read this so I got this right. The dialogue that we're talking about is understanding the value of timely detection. We're talking about employing simple approaches to assessing cognition. And they really brought to the table how to best employ practices in communication of cognition screenings and coordination of care for those living with dementia. So let me just boil this down. What's really exciting about this is it's a conversation about how do we really start addressing dementia in our community. And what's exciting is because now we have a support center where now, if you do know this is in your life, at least you have some place to start. You have some place to go. And guess what? The doctors now have a place to refer you as well. So that's kind of exciting. So this is our website. I wanted to show you the website so you could actually see how pretty it is. And I wanted to let you know that if you go to it, there's a couple things. There's about us, there's a bunch of links, a bunch of resources. Our staff member back there, Amanda, if she'd raise her hand, she's the one that's responsible for loading this website and making it rock. So, just to let you know, we want you to drive around on it. We want you to give us feedback, including constructive criticism, if you have some, all you detail-oriented people. And I want to let you know that if you're looking for workshops or presentations, there's a button you can click there. If you're looking, telling me I'm bad out. If you're looking for more information about anything that we're working on, you can find it in this website, and you can also find videos, other resources of that type. So we cannot do this work without partners. And as you well know, there are a lot of partners right now in elder care and in person-centered care. So we've got a lot of good partners. We've got the Hub, of course, who we are greatly associated with. We're not in their same building, but we're just down the street a little bit. We have the Center for Vital Community, which I mentioned quite a bit before. We have the Wyoming Center for Aging. The reason these folks are so important to us, and just so you know, when you do come to me and access these resources, which I'm just going to assume you're going to do, you're going to have to fill out just a tiny bit of paperwork. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to ask your forgiveness and ask your permission right now. As part of this grant package, we have to show if the needle has moved. We have to show if we are actually serving you, if you feel like there's anything different that's happening in your lives. So the University of Wyoming has really come in and has helped us develop really good evaluation measures, which will enable us to really let our grant providers know if they made a good investment. So I can go all down this list. Again, Bighorn Medicine and the Shared Memorial Hospital, they're very much involved. Alzheimer's Association, Shared Chamber of Commerce, the Easter Seals, Renew, Wyoming Institute for Disabilities, and AARP. That is just a smattering of our partners. Every day our partnerships are growing. Whew, that was a lot of talking. Any questions? No questions? Oh my goodness. Okay. All right, so, I'm sorry? Open house, that's a really good question. So our open house is going to be this coming Monday. There will be food, really good food, from 4 to 6. And it'll be an opportunity to just come in, and we'll have some displays about some of our specific programs. And hopefully you can just get comfortable. We have very nice chairs, just so you know, lots of good seating. And please just come by, check us out. If you're not needing the services right now, maybe you'll know somebody else that does. And so we're just looking for anybody that, just wants to check us out, keep us in mind, because oftentimes you don't need us till you really need us. And that's okay too. All right, our hours. That's a great question. So technically our hours right now are 8 to 5, and the staff inside our building, right now, anybody who's staff with Dementia Friendly Wyoming, raise your hand. Okay, so we got Vanessa, we got Amanda, Kay, and myself. So we really try to make sure the building is 8 to 5. We're kind of all over the place. But we try to maintain 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. And also you can always call us on the phone and those types of things. And email us, always too. And then there's Stella. So I always have to bring up Stella in this whole thing. We work in very tight combination with Stella because she has the caregiving office in the hub. And so just to let you know, we actually share Vanessa. Vanessa works part-time with Stella. So for all of you support group members who are looking at Vanessa like, what's she doing? Vanessa is partly working with Stella and then partly working with us. So sometimes she's, 20 hours a week she's with us and 20 hours a week she's with them. So we work very closely with Stella's caregiving group also. To make a long story short for all of the support group members that might be a little confused, this is basically a little bit of an expansion of Stella's program. We're just trying on a whole bunch of new tools. So Stella's work is obviously still rolling and she's doing her thing, and we're just bringing some more tools to the table. Okay? I'm done, I think.
Let's do a big round of applause together.